Welcome back. Our guest today is Judge Chris Patterson. If you're a regular viewer of the show, you certainly know Chris. We have had the opportunity to work with Chris in the past as an attorney and now as a judge, get some insight into the world of law, if you will. What we're going to discuss right now is the U.S. Census. Every 10 years, the United States conducts the census. There's a lot of misinformation, non-information, a lot of people who are uneducated about what the census is. There's an immediate knee-jerk reaction, God, no, I'm not going to tell them my personal information. People don't realize that the census is your friend and the opportunity for your particular area or county, in this case, to get the funding that it not only deserves, but it needs to take care of you as a citizen demanding services. If you don't fill out the census, you're not going to get your fair share or representation in Congress, and you're just going to suffer all the way around. Talk a little bit about the census from your point of view. Obviously, court system being one of the recipients of some of that funding based on population, I would imagine.
It is. Now let's take a step back and remember that this is a constitutional mandate, and the first census did start in 1790. So we have been doing these every 10 years for a long, long time. We have had in the past, one of the hot button issues has been the citizenship question recently. Of course, we were asking citizenship questions all the way until 1950. So that has been on the census for a long, long time. Since 1950, we've asked that in a different way. It's being asked, where do you live? And so at least you're getting the geographical locations that are necessary. But you're right, as far as the census, this helps the federal government apportion funds, apportion needs to particular areas, as well as apportion voting districts as well. So your right to be heard through your elected representative is impacted based upon the number of people in that particular area or zone. But it goes further. It also goes to your ability to get monies for local hospitals, for your roads, your education system, in some cases your climate and emergency relief, something we're very well familiar with post-Michael. So answering the census is a direct way to tell the federal government, I'm here and I need that help.
I think it's important that people understand that the government doesn't divulge this information. It's not like when you fill out a form on Google or online somewhere and they sell your information. This is held very closely, and on the other side of that coin, I think there's a $100 fine that you can be assessed if you do not fill out the census. So obviously it's a constitutional mandate. It's a right, a privilege. It's to your benefit. But again, a lot of people are just unaware of the consequences either way of filling or not filling out that census.
The federal privacy is very strong on this census and your responses, and it will not be sold. It cannot be by law, and in fact it's a criminal offense to divulge any of this information for anything other the census purposes. But again, people ignore it. They don't see a need to fill out another survey because they get so many in their daily lives. But this one is the one that counts, and this is what's going to directly impact, for example, transportation, roads and bridges, railroads, especially coming through Chipley. Are we able to get the Amtrak back online? Is there a need based on population? This is where you get a chance to be counted. Apart from the ballot box, you are counted, and this makes a difference in your local community. So it's critical that everybody fill out the U.S. Census this year.
The census relatively recently, it's been a while now, but sent out a direct mailer to everyone in the United States. You can respond that way. You can go onto the website. You can do it by phone. What people don't realize is if they choose not to respond, somebody will be knocking on your door. Nobody likes to get their door knocked on in the middle of dinner, certainly, but invariably that's when they come to the door, it seems like. But they are going to pursue you until they get that information using all means possible.
The census has been putting together census teams in your locales since last fall, I believe. I saw the first advertisements for that. And they are. These folks are going to come out, they'll do the foot traffic, they're going to try to get as much data that will impact this particular community as they can. So again, as a citizen, it's important that we go ahead and participate in this constitutional mandate and get involved and let people know that in fact Chipley and in the surrounding areas in the 14th Circuit do have a need based upon our growing population.
And it's pretty hard to justify complaining about the lack of an EMS station or a school resource officer in your particular school, or perhaps another policeman on patrol in your community, or another fireman at the firehouse, if you don't fill out that census, because monies go directly to all of those infrastructure departments to make those things happen.
They do. And as a matter of fact, as we've been talking about the COVID-19, the larger areas in the state of Florida, based upon the most recent census 10 years ago, got direct federal funding. The rest of us have had to wait. So again, it puts a priority as to funding sources as well, and the census helps people in Washington disperse those monies based on priority and need. So again, it is critical to our area that is growing all of the time that we are counted in the census accurately.
Well said, and thanks so much for being our guest today. Thanks for helping to explain the census to our audience, and hope to see you soon.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Our guest today is Chris Patterson, Judge Chris Patterson from the 14th Judicial Circuit, helping this time anyway to help explain what the U.S. Census is all about. Hopefully you can continue to tune into the show. We have compelling guests just like Chris every single day, and we appreciate your viewership, and there's certainly more to come. We'll be right back.